have an old member of this panel, an original member. That's Dr. Ayo Teriba. And Dr. Ayo Teriba is going to talk about Trump tariffs, Trump tantrum. You know, this week, the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Nigeria's Dr. Okonjo-Iweala, warned that recent tariffs imposed by the United States could significantly affect global trade and economic growth. In a statement she issued last Thursday, Okonjo-Iweala emphasized that the WTO is closely monitoring the situation and engaging with member countries about the potential economic impacts. She noted that many WTO members have expressed concern, and the organization is working to address these concerns. On April 2nd, U.S. President Donald Trump announced global tariffs on all imports, including a 14% tariff on goods from Nigeria. Back home in the United States, despite a tornado warning, demonstrators gathered in Houston, Texas, joining nationwide rallies to protest U.S. President Donald Trump's policies. The event was part of a broader movement opposing the administration's actions on various fronts. Protester Maggie expressed concern over government outreach and the influence of unelected figures like Elon Musk. Now, we have Dr. Ayo Teriba, and he's one of Nigeria's leading economists and Chief Executive Officer of Economic Associates. He joins me now for an overview of President Trump's tariffs. Dr. Teriba, well, let me just say welcome back home.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abati.
We started this struggle together. But now, Trump's tariffs. What are the implications for Africa, and what are the implications specifically for Nigeria that now has 14% tariffs imposed on whatever comes from Nigeria?
Right. Well, thank you for the invitation. It's my pleasure to be here. Good evening. Yes. The Trump tariff, you should group the implications into two. One group would be the intended consequences, what Mr. Trump intended to achieve by doing it, and the likely responses, you know, from those upon which is imposing the tariff. That's one aspect, and I think that's the aspect that people have been debating. The second, but more important aspect, are the unintended consequences. When Mr. Trump made the announcement on the 2nd of April, he certainly did not intend to upend global financial markets.
But that's what he has done.
It's not intended, but it's the more damaging of the two effects. We are looking at, okay, how will 14% tariff affect Nigeria? How will 50% tariff affect Botswana? But we're not discussing how has that market contraction affected all countries in the world. No country is going to be spared from the crisis of confidence created for the global economy. Oil prices down, markets, equity prices in effect down. And that's those ripple effects are for all countries to manage. The Central Bank of Nigeria, by Friday, had to intervene in the foreign exchange market to mitigate the negative consequences of that ripple effect. So Trump is presenting the world with another round of uncertainty comparable only to levels we last saw during the pandemic. Oil prices are back to pandemic levels, and during the global economic and financial meltdown. That uncertainty damages investor confidence, damages business confidence, damages consumer confidence, and it could crystallize into a global recession, global rise in unemployment, and you can name it. Mr. Trump did not intend that. And whether or not he goes ahead with the tariffs that he has announced, we have to grapple with that. And now, will he achieve what he intended to achieve with those tariffs? It is doubtful. He's using an economic policy instrument, which are tariffs, as a political weapon.
Okay, but Dr. Teriba,
Yes.
I'm interested in how should Nigeria react?
Very good.
The EU, with 20% tariffs, is saying we will retaliate, but they have not taken a decision as to when. China is saying we will retaliate. Other countries have been saying they will retaliate. Now, in Africa,
Yes.
I think Zimbabwe now says, oh, they've removed all tariffs on American imports, thinking that that will give them an opportunity to negotiate.
Yes.
Is it Zambia? Zambia has now said, oh, there are foreign players in the US. They don't need to go to the next major tournament in China because they don't want to put banders, for example, and others who are based in the United States, place them at any risk. Now, what should Nigeria do? Should we also take a decision and say we are retaliating?
Anyway,
Small countries, Namibia, Zimbabwe, they are showing courage. What advice will you give President Tinubu?
You know, Namibia got 47%.
Yes.
Lesotho got 50%. Nigeria got 14%. So Nigeria, the least any country got was 10%. So with 14%, Nigeria has been treated very mildly. And we should toe the, Zimbabwean line of maybe just taking it and moving on. And if we want to do anything, we should do it in concert with the other African countries, that many of which are also mildly affected. Although a good number.
We are a sovereign country. We are a sovereign country. The biggest country in Africa.
You don't want to attract Trump's attention to yourself. You don't want to.
We're a sovereign
You don't
country.
want to join.
We should stand up.
You don't want to join this war. You don't want to be targeted. You have a choice of taking part in any war, of staying out of the war. He has not. He said the worst offenders were the ones that got 30-40%. We are not seen by Trump as a bad offender. If 4% above 10% is what we got. But what Nigeria needs to do, so I will ignore 4% tariff imposed, 14% tariff or 4% reciprocal tariff imposed by America, and I'll concentrate on the likely threat to the foreign exchange market and the exchange rate, likely threat to the stability of the financial market. With the sellouts that we are seeing in global stock markets, investors might pull their portfolio funds out of Nigeria, fearing the uncertainty stoked by Trump. Nigerian government should concentrate more on managing that. It's only in January that we began to say that the economy is turning the corner. And this is a big test on our ability to keep that macroeconomic both steady, both on the part of the central bank, on the part of the Ministry of Finance, on the part of the Nigerian government at large. And I would wait and see. As some countries have said, we are not doing anything until May 1. Much of these Trump tariffs will be reversed. He is looking to negotiate zero tariffs with some of the countries. Some of the countries are also, China has said they're open to negotiation. Taiwan is offering, negotiation to agree on zero reciprocal tariff. Elon Musk has been shown in a video saying that U.S. looks forward to zero tariff agreement with the EU.
Okay, but Dr.
So they may be reversed. So don't worry yourself.
But Dr. Teriba, we have seen that in the United States, I think it was yesterday, protests all over. Millions of Americans protesting against Trump, protesting against Elon Musk, saying that Trump is not a king and that they voted for him as a democratic leader. And you are saying, we Africans should just not protest and say, oh, Trump is the king. Even in America, the people who voted for him are protesting.
Well, you didn't vote for Trump. So let those who vote for Trump protest against Trump. I'm surprised that the Congress has largely been silent. And they shouldn't have left it up to the people to come to the streets. I was very, very impressed the way the Congress rose up to Ronald Reagan when Reagan was going to refuse to impose sanctions on the racist regime in South Africa. They overturned his veto and went ahead to announce the imposition of sanctions on racist South Africa. The personal views of the President of the United States notwithstanding. This Congress is weak, is sleepy. These proposals should have passed through the Congress before being announced. So the crowd are coming to the street to say, he's sidelining democracy. America has strong institutions, including the Council of Economic Advisors, who are saying nothing. We didn't hear that it's the Council of Economic Advisors. I don't see any economist that is going to stand behind the Trump tariff proposals. He's using it as an amateur, trying to use it to open negotiations.
Okay.
And many of it may not stand. So please,
okay,
Nigeria should wait.
Dr. Teriba, before I close this conversation, another major development during the week was the dissolution of the board of NNPCL and the appointment of new board members. Now, what will be your comment on the dissolution and the way forward? Because many Nigerians are saying, okay, this is a new beginning for NNPC Limited. What are your expectations?
Given the numerous failures of the board that the president had inherited from President Buhari.
No, numerous failures, that's too strong a phrase. Under Milikari,
numerous failures,
he made a lot, he did a lot. No, that's not true.
Let me express my own view. Okay. You don't have to agree with me. Some of us had called on the president to do what he just did immediately after he took over the reins of power. That he should, replace the board of the Central Bank of Nigeria. He did that gradually. He first did the deputy governors and governor. Then eventually they showed all the other co-travelers with the then governor the way out. But he has done it now in NNPC, and I commend that step. And he has sent very clear signal by the caliber of people he has put, in the board. These are people with decades of experience. Many of them had retired, from top levels in the sector, from both the private, multinational, and NNPC itself. There's about 4 of them retired as group executive directors in NNPC. Gas and power, downstream, and upstream, etc. So I commend the president for the caliber of people he has put in charge, and I expect a different outcome. I expect an outcome similar to what we have been getting from the current board of the CBN, who this week had also announced, drastic improvements in our net reserves. When we met on Christmas Eve, we were saying that the CBN needed to publish net reserves, and that's what was mattered for macroeconomics. And they've now come to tell us that net reserves are $23 billion. So I expect to begin to see similar strides in the petroleum sector by the current board.
Well, on that note, I would like to thank you very much, Dr. Ayo Teriba, for returning to home base and joining us on this program to discuss major developments in Nigeria this week.